All right, this is urbanization number 5, and we're getting into a new topic here with politics. And the main focus is political corruption in the late 19th century, early 20th century, and how that's going to call for reforms or changes in the way that the government is working. So keep that in mind. There's political corruption going on, and that needs to change. All right, so that's what we're going to be looking at. The first thing that we're going to talk about is something called the political machine. And the next slide is going to explain it really well so that you can better understand it. But basically what it is, it's an organized group that controlled the activities of a political party, whether that be, for the sake of it, just Republican or Democrat. It also offered services to voters and businesses for political or financial support. So this same type of thing still goes on today, but just not in the way that what happened back then. So this is the way that a political machine worked. Is at the top of the pyramid was one city boss. All right, that boss controlled everything. All right, so from the videos that you've watched or you're going to watch, that's Boss Tweed. All right, so Boss Tweed was the main guy in charge. And then what you have is you have a few ward bosses. And wards are kind of like different parts of the city. And then you have precinct workers at the bottom, and the precincts are in the ward. So basically, if we just look at Ohio, all right, so Ohio is controlled by a governor, all right, and then there are counties in Ohio. So the counties, all 88 counties, could be considered a ward, and then in each county you have different cities or towns or villages or whatever, and those would be the precincts. So you would have a lot more precincts than you would wards, and then you'd have you could look at it, with the school as well. So at the top you have the superintendent, you have the principals, and then you have the teachers. All right, superintendent's in charge of all of it. The principals are in charge of their buildings, whether that be the middle school, high school, or elementary. And then you have all of the precinct workers, which are also called captains. All right. So these are the people, and sometimes they themselves were actually immigrants, these captains. And what it did is it allowed them to talk to them on their own level and help them get their support. And then what these captains would do, or the precinct workers, is they would talk with the ward boss and basically say, hey, this is what my people need. This is what they want in this area. And the ward boss would sometimes be able to do it. Sometimes he'd have to get approval from the city boss. And again, what they're trying to do is basically buy votes to get their candidate elected. In some cases, the city boss worked as the mayor, and in some cases, they didn't. All right. So take time, watch this video. What you are going to see is off here to the side, so make sure you keep this over here. You're going to see two different political machines in action. You're going to see them trying to get their candidates elected. You're going to see nativism. You're going to see control of city jobs and how they're trying to get people into when they get elected, hey, promise us this and get this person into this city job. Sometimes when you get your person elected, that person appoints people, and that's kind of how it works. And then the last thing you're going to see is something called cooping, and that's a type of election corruption. And it is said that Edgar Allan Poe died as a victim of cooping. And basically that's when you get people really, 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 really drunk, and then you make them go out and vote for your guy. So you're going to see a lot of cool stuff in this scene here. So please make sure that you watch that. You should have just watched that video. I'm hoping you just took the time to do that. All right, the role of the bosses. Some served as mayor, some didn't. If they were serving as mayor, that did give them a little bit more political control, but it also meant they couldn't do certain things and they could get in a little bit of trouble. They controlled access to municipal jobs. Municipal jobs were jobs in the city. They also controlled business licenses, and they had influence over a lot of the agencies that worked in the city. Some gave money to create parks, sewer systems, schools, hospitals, orphanages. The reason they would do this is it's going to get people to like them. and that's going to give them support they need to get their person elected the next time. They also allowed for the government support for new businesses. New businesses is always good because that means more money in your city. More money in your city means more money for your candidate. The reason, again, first off, why is he going to do all those things? Well, the first reason, he's going to get a lot of money. And then I've already mentioned this, by solving those urban problems, voters would remain loyal and continue to support the machine, expanding their influence. So, for example, you have to, when you are voting for somebody, you have to look at, what do you agree with that person? And are there things that you can go back and forth on? But mainly, is that person helping solve those problems that are important to you? And if that person is, then that's who you're going to be voting for, whether it be for mayor, city council, president, or whatever. You want to make sure that they're solving the problems that are important to you. Immigrants are going to be important to this political machine, and you'll see that in those videos where the immigrants are coming off the boats. They're literally coming off the boat, and what is happening is they are being recruited by different political machines so that they can, and they're kind of being, schmoozed by them a little bit, where they're giving them soup and they're, giving them, clothes, and they're giving them things, and basically they're just buying support and buying votes. So the machines could provide solutions to the immigrants' most pressing problems, which was getting a job, getting a place to stay, getting some food. So the political machine was solving those issues for them. Some of those precinct workers, again, those are the people on the bottom of that pyramid. They were first or second generation immigrants. First generation immigrants they literally got off the boat themselves. Second generation immigrants are kids of the people who got off the boats. All right. So what that means is they could speak to the immigrants on their level and in their language, which was pretty important. The machines helped with naturalization, housing, and jobs. We kind of mentioned that at the top. Naturalization is when you become a citizen. So that is just a different word for citizenship. Next thing we're going to get into is the corruption of what happened. So that's it for political machines.